And why do we need social accountability? It's democracy must work. If democracy doesn't work, nobody wants it. Because we all need things that work. When something doesn't add value to your life, you want to trade it for something else. So accountability is one of the key ways to make democracy work. But the other reason we need social accountability is you need democracy to work for all. That's a slogan for the Tuma Foundation, by the way. So democracy must not just work, it must work for all. And that's why Western democracies are in trouble at the moment, because their approach was our democracy works. It's only those African countries and Asian countries and Southern American countries that are having a struggle with democracy because their democracies don't work. But even if it works, if it doesn't work for all, it is going to be in trouble. So democracy must work, and democracy must work for all. And social accountability becomes the closing of that loop. When all of these other things have played their part, but still democracy is not working, is not functioning as it should, and is not working for everyone, social accountability comes in. You will recall that when I started, I spoke about what are some of the areas that are a reason for democracy to be in trouble. I said it's for social injustice, public service delivery, corruption, and just the level of democracy literacy and participation in civil society. So social accountability can correct that. And some of the case studies you can look, just to save time, I would suggest that you look at the World Bank website. They have a lot of examples of social accountability that has worked. In South Africa, so far, I've given you examples of sporadic social accountability initiatives. There are more organized social accountability initiatives, and one of the lasting ones here in South Africa is the social accountability initiative of equal education. So your social accountability initiative, you can operate two ways. One is you use the institutional mechanism of the state to correct problems or a malfunction within the state. The second part is you can also operate directly, and that's where you then protest, you use petitions, and you mobilize others to work with you, including the media. And Equal Education has done that. When there was education books not delivered on time, they went to the Department of Education, please correct this. They worked with the schools to count books, to monitor if books had been delivered. And then they asked the Minister of Education to sort out the problem. When the Minister of Education wouldn't sort out the problem, they went to Parliament. And when the Parliament wouldn't sort out the problem, they involved the media. When that didn't work, they went to court. And whilst that was working, they also mobilized civil society in protest. The case study with Equal Education shows that social accountability, for it to work, it doesn't always have to be punitive or adversarial. Because the first part of social accountability is people monitoring what should be happening, where should it be happening, and then just pulling that information and bringing it to the decision makers. You'll see examples in Kenya, Ghana, and in Bangladesh, where people take cell phones of what's going on. Let's say, for example, teachers are supposed to be in class and teachers are not in class. So you take pictures of a class where children are playing all by themselves at the wrong time of the day, you send it to the authorities. So no protest, no screaming at each other, you just alert the authorities to the fact that this is what should be happening, there's a discrepancy between what's happening and what should be happening, and you give them an opportunity. So you operate as their eyes and ears. You don't have to be their enemy because they might not be aware of what's going wrong. And of course, if there's no listening, we talk about whispering truth to power. When there's no listening, that's when then we move to the next level. What are the conditions under which social accountability works better? It's when there's democracy, literacy, and leadership. Because people need to know what's happening, what should be happening, before they can complain about the gap between what's happening and what should be happening. And secondly, they need to know who to complain to. Ndifuna ulwazi is an example of something similar to India, where they're teaching people, they're teaching people to know where to go, who's responsible for what services, and how should those services be delivered, and therefore they can go to the right person about the discrepancy between the service that should be delivered and the action that should be taken. And the service delivery here is not just delivery of water, it's also regulation.